What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Corvette Weekly. Welcome back to the show where you can come for anything and everything Corvette related, whether it is news, maintenance, rumors, ownership, whatever it is. If it's Corvette, you'll find it here. We are joined today with Brandon and David.
The program two-part mounting solution.
And yeah, we're here to do the Corvette Weekly thing. So what I noticed right off the bat, guys, I got to point this out. Brandon actually mentioned to me that there was a lot of green names in the chat today. And when I looked over there at one point, the entire chat that I could see, all of them were green names. That is fantastic, guys. You are really freaking killing it, and I love it.
That's amazing, guys.
It really is. And we actually got a new one.
Now. It's like
it's just like straight green. We actually had a new one. It disappeared now. Who? Oh, there it is. Kevin Reynolds. Kevin Reynolds. Actually, I don't think he's new. I think he just re-upped. But either way, it shows a new member. So I'm going to treat it as if it is a new member. So welcome, Kevin. Thanks, guys. All of you guys.
And Kevin just posted, too. He got his frunk signed by Taj at Laguna Seca or something like that.
I saw that. Cool, that is very cool.
That's pretty cool, man.
Steve Robertson says he's a greenie. All right. A Roswell green. Yeah, it does kind of look like Roswell green. And actually, we're going to talk about Roswell green tonight. So great segment there, Kevin. And for everybody else, guys, last week we did the giveaway with the C8 Rally Driver hatch supports. Keith from C8 Rally Driver was nice enough to offer a discount for anybody who entered, and really it's going to be anybody who's in the chat at this point. If you wanted to save $50 off, you can. Let me pull it up here because I can't remember what the code was. But he gave out a code that will only be good until the end of this month. So if you are interested in saving $50 off a set of those, you can. Here in a second. It's going to be...
Well, there's Dan. Hey, what's up, Seawolf?
HPO 50. I don't know why that was so hard for me to remember. HPO 50 will get you $50 off of the race hatch support. So I'm going to put it in the chat here, guys. If you're interested, you might as well grab them. It'll save you $50 off. Some of you who entered who didn't win, you can still kind of use that money towards, that coupon. So if you're interested in grabbing a set of hatch supports, which I highly recommend, they're very awesome. Actually, David and Brandon both have them on their cars. And like I said before, Brandon was in the chat last week. I said, they're not going on Brandon's car if they weigh anything additional over top of the stock stuff. So they're going to save you some weight. They come in any custom color you want. You should definitely check them out. But obviously, guys, C8 Rally Driver is the sponsor for the Monday Night Live videos in the month of May. So we're going to be doing it.
They just look good. I like the way they cut them. They just look good.
They do.
They really do. You think it's one thing. I know that GM's not going to put a lot into some of the smaller details on the car, but I'm glad people like Keith pick up the slack and go, hey, we could improve that,
Yeah.
So.
And here's the thing. The interesting thing about that, David, is that Keith was doing these for a long time. And then GM was like, hey, wait a second. We're going to do those too. And they did a set of their own, which are available only in Red Mist or Edge Red, I guess. And they're $2,000. So there's a big difference between here. But it's funny because GM saw what Keith was doing with C8 Rally Driver stuff and was like, wait a second, we want in on that action. So it's kind of funny. I still prefer the C8 Rally Driver setup. I think they're nicer looking, they're cheaper, and they come in any color you want. So I mean,
$2K? $2K.
$2,000, dude.
And I was actually looking at the batch to see if somebody had a set of those because I was going to offer to pay them just to let me take it off and find a scale and weigh it, and then put it back on their car so I could see how much the GM would weigh compared to the.
I bet you they weigh more than the stock. I bet you they
it's heavier.
Yeah.
I bet they are too.
There's so much to them. There's almost no way they're lighter. Let's see here.
Yep. And Keith's a good guy too, man.
He is
a good dude.
Yep. Yeah, him and his son drove the C8 Stingray and his C8 Z06 up here to the Pittsburgh Cars and Coffee a couple months ago. Actually, it's almost a year ago at this point. And I got to spend a day with both of them. Both really cool guys, really chill, really into the Corvette community, something fierce, but just really nicely laid back. Not overly aggressive, not overly pushy or anything, which is why I thought it would be great to bring them onto the channel here as a sponsor, because I have a bunch of their products on my cars, and I know there's a fair amount of people out there that don't know about them. And that by itself should be a crime because the C8 Rally Driver stuff is awesome. And we are going to be doing a giveaway again tonight with C8 Rally Driver stuff, guys. So smash the thumbs up button, guys. Let's get to 100 by 8 o'clock again. That worked really well last week. We smashed the 200 thumbs up by 8:30, which was awesome. So let's do it again. Let's hit 100 by 8 o'clock, and we're going to talk about the giveaway here in a second. Because the giveaway again tonight is another piece from C8 Rally Driver. And I have two guys who decided to move their entries to this week. Those same two moved because of the fact that they don't have they have a convertible instead of a coupe. Unfortunately, this week's not going to be any different for those guys. But this is, again, for coupes only. But it is going to be a carbon fiber strut cap for the C8 Corvette in general, whether Z06, Stingray, or even E-Ray. It is a carbon fiber cap that will cover up your strut towers in the engine bay. As you can see here, they're worth about $315 plus shipping, so let's call it $350. You can get in on this giveaway, guys. $10 is an entry, $50 is double entries. So if you want to start donating for these, you can save yourself a lot of money and get a nice piece of carbon fiber for your engine bay. Again, coupes only, Stingray, Z06, E-Ray, and if you're lucky enough to have a ZR1, it will fit that too. So obviously, nobody has a ZR1 yet, but you get what I'm saying. If you do want to get a ZR1, you don't want to pay for it, there is a good way to do that as well. The National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is giving away a ZR1 with the ZTK Performance Package plus 30 grand. Now, if you guys hadn't seen it, I actually did a video with a person at the bash who won his C8 Z06 from the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. This exact kind of giveaway, he won it from this. So any of you out there who don't think these are real, I literally talked to the guy at the bash. I have a video up on my channel if you want to see it, where he won a Red Mist C8 Z06. This is the same kind of thing. These things are the real deal. You can win. So again, if you do it here, you're going to get a couple extra bonus entries just because you're doing it from the channel. Check out the link in the description down below. Click the link. It automatically populates the HPO code, and you'll get extra entries for doing so. This is obviously competition yellow one with a ZTK performance package, but the same kind of thing applies for the second link in the description. If you don't want the edge yellow, you can click on the second link, and it will get you the torch red. And it's the same kind of thing. You're going to get the ZTK Performance Package plus 25 grand in cash on this one. So definitely check these out, guys. Like I said, they're obviously real. They're actually legit. You can win a car, and if you donate $25, you're going to get extra entries because you did it on this channel. Check out those links in the description below.
And it was cool to meet that guy that won that car. That was cool.
I've been talking to him for the last 2 years. I've literally been trying to make a video with him for 2 years because originally I met him at Corvettes at Carlisle, and he was telling me, oh, the car's coming. And I was talking to him before the car actually came. And then the following year, he had the car there, and I wanted to make a video. Yeah. And then when he was at the bash, I was like, all right, I got to do it this time. Like, I need to make this video because some people legitimately don't believe that these giveaways are real. And here's a really good indication of the fact that you could tell these are real. Number one, this one here is the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. This one runs until August. You can see up at the top left how much money they have made so far. Okay? There's no reason that they need to fake these. If it's made $605,000, they can easily buy this car and still have a bunch of money left over for the charity side of it. There's no reason to fake this. They're making enough money to buy the car and continue to do these things. Now, the red one, this one goes until September. This one has still made more than they need to buy the car, but even at that, they're still making about $58,000 after purchasing the car. So there's no reason to fake these things. They make enough money on their own. They don't need to be faked. But regardless, check out those links below, guys. Make sure you get entered. And it looks like we did get an entry already for the giveaway tonight. Who was that? Oh, yeah, another thing, guys. I got some new emojis in the chat. If you guys haven't checked those out yet, you should. Yeah. We got a couple of new ones. Charles, thank you, Charles. I'll get you entered in. He gets in for 10 entries with the double entry after $50 pops in. So Charles is in for 10. Curious though, guys, what is your favorite new emoji?
I still like the Mountain Dew, bro. I'm sorry. Like that one kills me
Yeah.
every time.
You gotta like. And somebody asked me the other day, when you're drinking the Mountain Dew, make sure you put the logo facing out. I was like, I can't, because then the thing here for me to drink, it's on the opposite side. Like, so whenever I go to drink it, it's always the logo's not there.
Yeah.
Dude, if I tried to drink that thing upside down, I'd be covered in Mountain Dew for the rest of the show.
Yep.
Well, where's Brandon? Brandon's out. Oh,
Uh-oh.
well, was he getting a static?
Man down. Man down. Oh, he said he's gonna log back off and on to see if his static fixes. Gotcha.
Did you hear a static, David?
I did not. Negative.
Yeah, I didn't either. That's weird. Usually I would hear it too.
There's you. He's back.
Okay, let me get him back on here then. David.
Oh, that's awesome. I tell you, and met the bash meeting Professor Corvette, and that like it just going back and forth about like all the comments in the in the live chat. It's so fun
yeah.
to put the faces to the names, man. It's a blast.
Brian, you want to test your audio real quick for me?
Yeah, I'm not hearing the static now. It sounds
Oh,
better.
Okay,
you
good.
you sound clear on my end.
Good.
It's coming intermittently, but it's not as bad as it was.
Oh, that's weird. All right, so somebody said, who was that earlier? God, these comments are coming in so crazy, guys. I don't remember who said it. So I'm just going to ask, who was it that said that they had the car for 12 miles and already had some sort of... Oh, Professor Corvette. Okay. Professor, let's hear the story. So he is saying he's only had the car for a little bit. I forgot he just took delivery on, I think, the 7th. Yeah. Tell your story, Professor. Let's hear it. I wish I would have known this earlier. I'd actually given you some camera time.
Wait, what happened?
I don't know. He hasn't said yet.
Oh.
Beth,
He just took delivery. He just took delivery on the 7th, you're saying.
Yeah. Beth said that I
I'm
could
saying
use this. I could use a straw so my logo stands out. Leave it to a woman to have like the best freaking ideas. I didn't even consider using a straw on this thing.
Well, you know, that's because they're used to making sure their children drink without spilling, so therefore it translates very easily over to us.
We're just big children at the end of the day.
Exactly.
That is funny.
That's exactly what it is, bro. Yeah, and the bash, right? Somebody said, "Oh, Professor Corvette said the bash was a bash." Yeah, the bash was a blast. I can't wait to see you guys at Carlisle. It's gonna be so much fun. He said 15 miles and it starts shifting erratically and CEL goes on.
That's not good. Have you gotten it fixed yet?
Just got out.
God,
he said he drove out on the freeway for the 80-mile trip home.
That's so disappointing. I mean, I get it. Like, these are production cars, so, you know, things are going to happen. And odds are good. It's probably not anything serious. But it is still disappointing. Because it's like, you're so excited. I know his particular build was almost $200,000. Like, this is a loaded car. And he's been waiting for it. So finally to get it, and then 15 miles in, it starts shifting erratically. Like, that is disappointing, even if it's not a big deal.
Yeah. Well, and it's not, you said production, it's not even that. So one of the docs that I work with, he's got like 6 or 7 mega dollar Ferraris. Yeah. And the last one he ordered was like a $600-something Ferrari. And when it got delivered to his house and he started whatever, it hit through a bunch of codes and stuff. They had to take it right back.
Yeah, see,
so it's not just production cars, it's just mechanical stuff. It happens.
I feel like, and this is going to sound contradictory to what I just said, I feel like with a supercar, like the Ferraris, the Lamborghinis, though, I feel like those problems are more likely to happen, which is really an odd thing to say, I guess. But I don't know. Either way,
he told me it was the first time he never had an issue at all. But he said when he turned on, he said it lit up like a Christmas tree, and it wouldn't start. And then when it started, it kind of like sounded like it was, you know, a washing machine. And he turned it right back off and said, "Nope, you got to take this one back."
He says it was kind of. Go ahead.
Does Ferrari and Lambo, do they all do the same kind of stuff GM does, as far as sending out engineers to all different parts of the U.S.? I know Porsche does it, but I don't know if they do it as extensively as GM does. You know, we see all the test drivers running. I mean, do you ever see test cars for Ferrari running around?
They don't test them here, but they have their own facility.
Yeah, they do something similar.
Yeah.
Professor Corvette says it was crazy for a few minutes, then healed, but the check engine light stayed on. Brought it to the dealer, had a Friday appointment, but they didn't look at it till today. Why make appointments you can't keep? God, isn't that the truth? Finally,
right.
today, the service manager says he thinks it was the TCM programming problem. He relearned it and it's working well. That's interesting. Professor Corvette, I
Right.
actually just heard from another subscriber, I think Bill Miller's in here, that they were going to do something similar to his transmission because he had a weird shift that happened. So they relearned it. If it's not a relearn thing, just like Jeremy said here, he had his valve body replaced at 2,500 miles. The valve body seems to be one of the almost guaranteed. If you're having a transmission problem, it's pretty much guaranteed it's the valve body that's doing it.
Right. And it's weird that
Service dealers now replace the valve bodies, whereas before it was just a complete trans replacement.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say too, Brandon. Like it's basically the same trans that Ford could develop. They have the GT500, and they're getting 1,300 horsepower with stock clutches, stock everything, stock programming, all that stuff, and they're not having the valve body issues like
Well,
GM is. This kind of makes
I
you
mean,
wonder.
even look at Steven's car. I mean,
Yeah,
he's got
it's true.
clutches on his, and he's making over 1,000.
Yeah.
It's true.
Professor
That's
Corvette
true.
said he's going to get his car back tomorrow. He hopes. By the way, the service manager's comment on seeing the car was, "Holy crap, where'd you get that thing?" See, I like that comment. I think it's funny, but at the same time, that comment kind of scares me because it's like I would rather pull in and have the service manager go, "Oh, okay, yeah, we've worked on a
Yeah.
couple of those." Like, I don't want to be the first
Yeah.
one they're working on. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so
Right.
hopefully
But-
that's not the case here. He was just really happy with how that car looked, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and my local dealership used to be a big vet dealership. So they have a lot of like seasoned vet techs that are used to working on like vets and stuff. But I would felt good because when I pulled up one time, I was like, oh, there's already a ZR6 here. They're already
Yeah.
working on these. Like I said, used to like made me feel better that,
Yep.
okay, I'm not going to be the guinea pig for this and have them be the first one to work on it. So,
Yep, that's exactly my thought on it. Seawolf 06, he says that he's had his TCM program reprogrammed twice now. I know he was
oh, wow.
having some issues too. But Supercharged E-Ray, Steven says kind of the thing I was thinking, which is really weird, is they don't even try to fix these transmissions. If they're having a problem, it's just bam, new one. We're not even going to try messing with it. And I feel like
honestly, the labor, right, is the same.
Well, would you trust a guy in like Dalton, Georgia, that's not a Corvette tech to replace the valve body on a DCT and a Corvette? I mean, I wouldn't want that guy.
Well,
doing it. So I could see in
the
certain
valve body,
centers it being the case.
maybe the valve body, but I mean, if it's something crazier than that, like, let's, if you need a clutch replaced or something, it's like, I agree. I would rather them just swap the whole thing out. But it is kind of odd that they don't even attempt it. Like, when they swap it out, when they get it back at GM or wherever it goes back to, at that point, are they fixing it? Or are they literally just
I think
trashing
they're
it?
probably just. I bet they just trash it because honestly, and I see their side of this. Actually, I'm gonna kind of be on the GM side of this. Like, if I gotta pull the transmission anyway to fix it, I got a brand new one I could send you. It's just a swap, and done. I don't have to pay the labor to be like pull it out, fix it, new parts, put it back in. I know they're like 40 or 50 grand for when we have to buy one of those, but for them, when they buy it in bulk, it ain't anywhere close to that. Just replace it, be done with it, move on.
Seems like
And
a
to
waste.
piggyback off of that, on eBay, I'm seeing a lot of C8Z06 VCCs pop up now, and I don't know if they're ones that have been kind of same situation. They've been
Takeouts.
pulled for whatever reason and got sold to some, scrap shop or whatever it might be. They bought it and they're reselling it. I don't know.
Interesting. All right, guys. So
There's probably
again,
2 or 3 on eBay right now.
if you're just tuning in for the first time here, C8 Rally Driver is the sponsor of the month. The giveaway for tonight is a set of carbon fiber strut tower covers. You can get entered for $10. Every $10 is an entry. $50 or more is double entries. You can send Venmo to Horsepower Obsessed, or you can do it right here in the Super Chat. Either way will count. So far we have 1 entry, and actually somebody donated on Venmo just a second ago. Let me see what that was.
All right, guys, 75 thumbs up. Let's go. Let's get going.
Let's hit that 100 mark. We got 3 more minutes. You can do it. I know you can. Kevin Reynolds, $150 from Kevin Reynolds for the C8 Rally Driver struts. Right now, I would feel confident in saying he's leading the pack. So at 150, he's going to get 20-30 entries. Very nice. All right, so yeah, guys, thumbs up. Let's hit 100 in the next couple minutes. I know you guys can do it. You did it last week in a friggin' matter of like 10 minutes. We were at 100, so let's do it. Let's see. Yeah, David says get those thumbs ups. I agree.
Yep.
Yeah, so Chopper Larry, he's probably right. Actually, I know he's right. He says Tremec wants it back. So what Tremec does, and I know they were doing this in the past, especially with the early 2020s, they take a look at the transmission to find out exactly why it failed. So whatever the problem might have been, they want to know what failed. After they figure that out, I still don't know what they do with them. So do they fix them and resell them as refurbished? Do they drop them on eBay, which is obviously very possible? I don't know, but he's right. The Tremec does want them back because they like to determine what failed, which is great by itself.
Well, and honestly, too, like the economy of scale for GM and Tremec is it's nothing for them to be like, okay, here's your new transmission versus repair, done.
That's true. That's a much better experience for the customer. I totally agree.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So.
Yeah, Professor Riptide Brick says he would be mad, and I would be too. I wouldn't be so much mad as I would be disappointed. I mean, you've waited for the car forever, and it sucks that you have to experience this. But at the same time, I do think you're going to be okay in the long run. Like I said, I've got now 11,000 miles on my Z06, no problems at all. And
and I feel you on that. Just like, I don't know about mad, but like, I know how good the experience was for Brandon and I when we picked our cars up at the museum. If I was getting on the highway to go back home and the light went off like 50 miles and it was acting funny, I would be really disappointed.
Yeah.
Like, that would have deflated me from the experience, I think,
And that's what I'm saying. I think it's more of a disappointment thing than a anger thing. But again, guys, let's smash the thumbs up. Let's get these thumbs ups going. It looks like, I don't know if that's right. We're only at 73. But
Justin, Professor Corvette, he's just worried they're going to use up all his new car.
Yeah.
Smell.
Well, I'll tell you what. And it's funny. It's funny on one hand, but on the other hand, this is a real thing. This really is. And I thought the same thing because, like, when I pull my car into the garage, I was doing something with it the other day, and I put the window down and I forgot to put it back up, and I'm sitting there thinking, crap, like it's going to let all that smell out. But I'll be honest with you. I'm like I said, I'm at 11,000 miles. It still smells brand new when I get in that car. So don't worry about it. That's not going to happen like you think it will. But yeah, I don't know. It's my C7 ZR1. When I get in it still has a new car smell. That car's 5 years old with 16,000 miles on it.
That's awesome.
Cool Dad Stuff says he just got here late. What's up?
Justin, not to change the subject a little bit.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you a question. So I'm sure you saw with the 26, they're talking about putting a new mode, PTM Pro. I don't know if it's just the ZR1 that's going to be across all the Corvette variants.
No, it's across all of them.
They're going to do an over-the-air update for us?
No.
Like the non-26 models for PTM Pro?
If I had to guess, no. And it's because that's like a selling point for the 26s. With that said, the PTM Pro, I almost feel like it's not really, based on what they've said about it so far, it feels like it's not that much different than what we have now. Minus the fact it might decrease, because I mean, I don't know what the percentages are now, but if you put it in, PTM race 2, whatever it is, the most track oriented one, your nannies are on at, like, we'll say 10%. It sounds to me like the Pro version's taking that down to like maybe 5%, because there is no such thing as completely off. They will never give it to you completely off.
Yeah, and they said that at Ron Fellows. They said GM has come out and said they will never give you
no. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
ABS was the only thing that's on, is what my understanding was. ABS was the only thing you were getting in PTM Pro was anti-lock brake system. That was it. I would be surprised. I was going to say it would be fun, but I would be surprised if they did it that way. I would still stand pretty firm on the fact that they'd probably just decrease even further the percentage of those nannies being on, because even at 5%, that's barely on. Like, yeah.
But I mean, I'm making these numbers up. I don't know what the percentages actually are.
You know what, though, Brandon? Like that would solve our burnout problem to actually get the tires hot.
Yeah.
You can turn
not only that,
off.
the guys with the ZR1s could literally fly off the road at 100 miles an hour if they wanted to.
And that's ultimately,
that
Brandon.
Anyway. If they don't stay out of it, they're going to do it anyway.
That's the problem, though. That's the problem with why they haven't given that to us to this point. Is someone's going to turn it on, and maybe they do it by accident, or maybe they do it on purpose. It doesn't matter. They fly off the road and get hurt in some way, shape, or form. The first thing they're doing is suing GM for having that mode on there. So,
but you sell more cars, like the
Viper.
Hey, remember the Viper? No traction control.
Oh yeah, dude. The Viper was to this day. I'm scared to drive a Viper because that thing, it's like trying to kill you.
Every second is trying to kill you.
Yeah, Steven said the same thing. He said that he thinks it was ABS only. So if that is really the case, if it's 100% ABS only and they disable everything else, that's surprising. And yeah, guys, while we're
I just
at
hope
it,
they downstream it, which would make me mad if they don't, because Tesla does that for all their older vehicles. They'll give them all the same tech, and I wish that GM would do the same. If assuming that it's capable of doing an over-air update, that we can get PTM.
it 100% would be, but
I'll say yeah, it would be, yeah. And actually, that would solve a couple of problems for us when we're talking about drag racing. Like doing a burnout's almost impossible in this car to get it hot. You know what I mean? So
from the very beginning, from when the Stingray came out, their burnout mode was to hold the paddles, punch the gas, and dump the paddles. That's your burnout mode. And I did it a couple times in the C8 Stingray, and I could get the tires to spin maybe twice.
Right.
And that was it. And
well, even in track 2, like we've tried it all, because like
Yeah.
to get really good traction with like the Nittos and some of these other tires, you got to get them smoking hot, and we just have never been able to do it. Like Brandon gets some pretty good ones, but like it's not like just let it roll and like now you got smoke everywhere and you roll out of the water
Nope.
box and you're good to go. It's
Nope.
not the same thing, man.
Not
I
without
mean,
a line lock.
in GM's
exactly.
defense, this is not a drag strip car. So in their defense, that's what I would say. Now, the cars that are more geared towards drag strips, like the even the Camaro, the ZL1, that had a built-in line lock. And that is a track car, but it's also way more
Right.
geared towards a drag strip than a Corvette is. So, you know, I mean, it's one of those things. I can
Well,
see
and
it,
honestly,
but
Brandon and I were talking about this too. Like, you couldn't even line lock this car unless it came from GM, because it'll throw the wheel speed sensors off and it'll throw it into limp mode immediately.
Yep.
Like, you can't
And,
even put an
and it'll
aftermarket.
push them anyway. It'll push the front tires.
It'll push right through that. Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Steve Robertson, guys, he says, as of today, he has successfully made 69 trips around the sun. So everybody wish happy birthday to Steve
69.
Robertson. Yeah. The best of ages.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Everybody let him know happy birthday. That's awesome. Yeah, Bill Miller says down at the bash on those rainy mornings coming out of the hotel, those rear wheels love to spin even when he didn't want them to. Honestly, the C8 Z06 is leaps and bounds better as far as being able to have fun in it than the Stingray was whenever I had my 2020. The 2020 Stingray, it did not, those back tires would not break loose no matter what you did, and if they did, it would immediately cut power. So I think GM kind of saw the issue there and realized we need to let these guys have some fun. And this might be a progression, Brandon, to the PTM Pro mode, where they're literally playing with this and watching the people that are driving it. And some of us want to have more fun with these cars, and we need to be able to turn some of that stuff off, at least from time to time. So,
Well,
yeah.
and I was going to say one thing that one of the guys I was working with, we were talking about ZR1, we were talking about other things, and this came up with the PTM Pro. Maybe it's for the pros, the guys who run it, but maybe it's to turn them off, have PTM Pro, so when they go do a Nürburgring time, they don't have the nannies to worry about.
Well, they wouldn't
Maybe.
really have to mess with that too much anyway. I don't think they probably would have some sort of special programming
But
disable
anyway,
those,
but anytime they've done like professionals on laps, professionals are always faster without the nannies, 100%.
Yeah.
What, like me? I would kill myself.
100, and that's the problem. That is the issue, though. It's like if GM wants to keep themselves out of lawsuits, they're probably not going to necessarily give us that ability. But at the same time, there might be a way that they're drawing something up that says, you know, if you press PTM Pro, you have to press agree on the screen to something. I bet you probably do. Like, hey, you're about to turn all this stuff off.
Are you sure?
Yeah, are you sure you're sure? Like, yeah.
Because you know, on a front engine car, you get the back out. It's pretty predictable. These rear engine cars, you get the back
totally
out.
Different.
It's a snap.
Yep. Totally different.
Snap oversteer. Yep.
And it's weird because like in my C7 ZR1, even with all of the traction control on, I can step out the rear. But when I do, it's very predictable. I know exactly what it's going to do, and I know exactly how to counter it. But
It's
just
not
like you
that
said,
snap
with the
oversteer.
mid engines, it's totally different.
Yep. I even got the E-Race sideways in the rain.
Yeah. I saw. Well, that was because of the rain. If it hadn't been for the rain, that would have been
I
a lot
know, but
harder
I'm
to
still
do.
like in the rain. I was like, holy crap! I actually managed to do that. Oops.
Yeah, Robert Brunn says, Justin, when I bought my 19ZR1, the dealer said, do not turn off the nannies. And yeah, that's, you better be good at driving if you turn off those nannies. And I'll be honest with you, I've never turned them off. And like I said, even with them on, I can step out that rear end on a dry day with just a little bit of gas. Like those nannies are there for a reason.
Well,
It's just-
to piggyback off of that, my buddy Seth, when we went to the drag strip a few weeks ago, he's not been to the track a ton. I think this might have been his first time drag racing. He put it in PTM 1, And I don't know if you saw, but on my video, there was an instance where his back end came out. It doesn't look as bad
saw
on
that.
his camera, but he was probably a mere feet from the wall. And that was the first time he'd been on the track.
Wow.
Put in PTM1, wasn't expecting the back end to come to the right, and that's
Yeah.
what it did.
And it's
that's
so
crazy.
fast because I mean I've gotten it out at the track too, like in PTM1, PTM2, like I've gotten out, and it when it comes out quick.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like you said, it's a snap.
yeah, snap over steer, man.
Kevin Reynolds says that he hangs out with and knows a lot of Corvette owners. Not a lot of interest in buying an E-Ray from any of them, with the exception of one friend. This has kind of been my experience with this too. Even on the screen here, I think there's really only one of us that would have a lot of interest in an E-Ray. And I'll let you guys think about who that would be. And it's, but it's kind of my experience too. A lot of people, number one, there's a lot of misinformation about the E-Ray out there. I think a lot of people think that the E-Ray is a fully electric car. And I know that that's the fact because I've talked to a lot of the older guys at the car shows, and they say, oh, I don't want a full electric, or I don't want an electric car. And I'm sitting there thinking, the E-Ray is really not an electric car. I wouldn't put the E-Ray in the classification of an electric car, even though it does have a hybrid setup. It's still, to me, mostly a gas-powered car. But people are, right off the bat, they've been misinformed and they run with it. So a lot of the low interest for the E-Ray out there is because of a misinformation situation.
Well,
but
misinformation and just absolutely trash marketing. I mean, it's a performance hybrid. That's been the standard in a lot of these hypercars for a long time. But you know, the performance out of that E-Ray is next level, man. It really, really is. It's insane. I mean, again, you said only one of us would buy. I mean, I would buy one 100%. I would buy one.
Did y'all
And I'd
see
mod the crap out of it.
Drag Time's video where he
Yeah.
raced at I guess it was
The
a quarter
E-Ray
mile or half mile, I
Z06?
can't remember. The C8 Z06 versus the E-Ray. I
Yep.
think they did like 4 or 5 races back to back.
Yep. And see,
Yep.
here's the thing. I got to preface this. Again, the Corvette is not a drag car. So doing those things, that makes no sense. Yeah, okay, the E-Ray's going to beat the Z06 in a drag race. Great. They're not drag cars. So who cares? Put them on the track, and guess what? The E-Ray's going to get smacked. And that's the problem. You build a track car. Why? I don't even know why they went with something like this. If they're building a track car, the E-Ray should have been designed differently. I don't know how to do it, but I don't know. That's just my thought on
I think
the
they're
whole
trying to get the best of both worlds, though. They're trying to get a little bit of
Yeah.
everything.
And
They're
actually,
like a jack of all trades and master of none kind of deal. That's what I
exactly.
think they're
And
going
and
for.
Rivermutt, you know, I haven't seen him comment much, but he said calling it an E-Ray was a mistake. I'm kind of with you on that too. Like that
Yeah.
goes into what Justin was saying. Like that puts it right into the people thinking it's an all electric car because it's an E-Ray, you know, versus whatever Stingray hybrid or whatever, you know. So, but yeah, I love the E-Ray though. I would buy one. I'd mod the crap out of it too. I'd be right there with Steven.
Again, I've talked a lot about this at the bash. If I don't get a ZR1, I have two options. I'm either going to get another Stingray or I'm going to get an E-Ray, because I think modding the E-Ray obviously can be done pretty nicely. But even still, as long as you go into it with the correct mindset, you are not building a track car. It doesn't matter how much money you throw at this thing. A track car, a better one exists already. So if you're okay with that, if you're going to build a drag strip freaking monster and that's what this thing will be, absolutely, I'm all in for it. But
yeah, I mean, and that's exactly what you're talking about, right? Like, I mean, but Steven's car, once Steven's car's dialed in, that's like an $899 car. I mean, legit. Once Steven's car's dialed in, that's like an $899 car all day long. Like, that's freaking crazy.
Yep. And I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with this, but Steven said that they can't make them even if people did want them. They've built 3,000. It's not because of demand. From what I've heard, it is because of demand. GM has slowed production on the E-Ray because the demand is pretty low on the car. That is good for you guys, though. So any of you guys who have an E-Ray, don't think that this is a bad thing. If they slow production on those cars, that is increasing the value of your car. So even if the majority of people that have Corvettes don't want the E-Ray, this is a good thing for you. So, but based on my research, that's what I found is that GM's dialing back production of those cars because the demand isn't there.
Right. Well, and again, to the E-Ray, like even on track, like, I mean, if you're Joe Blow, sit in front of your TV and don't really do whatever, and you go out for your random track day, I mean, you're not going to be able to squeeze everything out of the Z06 anyway to put it on the razor's edge. So I mean, good for you. The E-Ray works. Hell, most people would be absolutely satisfied tracking a Stingray. I mean,
Stingray,
like,
yeah.
let's be real. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like that is more than enough for most people. But
Yep.
I have to like, if I was like I said, if I wasn't on the ZR1 list, I would have already bought an E-Ray, man. Like for real, for real.
Yeah. Yeah, the Chopper Larry says it was lacking demand. I know from the very beginning when they first started building the cars, like when they first started building the Z06, you couldn't touch that car for less than 100K over. There was none of them just sitting around. The very first allocation round of E-Rays, there was E-Rays sitting at dealerships. And they were, in their defense, they were marked up. They were between 5 and 8K over. But even still, they were just sitting. And it was mostly because people were not educated appropriately to what that car actually was.
Right.
And yeah, so I mean, it's definitely a GM issue. They should have done better with the education on the cars. But at the same time, those of us who did know, such as myself, I was more interested in the Z06 anyway. Now, like I said, if I'm going to buy another car and I'm going to keep my Z06, it probably will be an E-Ray, just because it is a more casual daily driver, and I think that's
from a
great.
GT car standpoint, I think somebody said in the comments, right? Like it's one of the best GT cars out there right now. Like they're really
super comfortable.
Yeah, Nate's car is amazing, man. Like every time I get in it, I'm just like, God, this car is freaking awesome, and it's fast.
Yep.
And Nate doesn't have anything done to it. He's got an exhaust. That's it, and it's fast.
Well, it's just like when I drove Corey's car, supercharged. I didn't drive Stevens, obviously, but that car is plenty. What it had available power-wise, instant torque, like it had everything I felt like you need, especially on the street. So I feel like it's a good all-around vehicle. Of course, he's heavy. Supercharger adds weight, E-Ray adds weight. All those things are not going to be good around the track. I don't think he's going to be anywhere near even a stock 06 around a track, unfortunately. But for a Grand Tour, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's it. As long as you go as long as you go into it with the appropriate mindset of exactly what Brandon just said, then you are going to get in a fantastic car and you're going to love it. So anyway, guys, we got 200 people in here watching, 111 thumbs up. Let's rock those thumbs ups, guys. Let's get these things moving. We can easily hit 200 still. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it, guys. Yeah, and the last thing I'll say on that for the E-Ray thing too, like you were just saying, I mean, it's a purist thing too. So I think Lewis said it in the comments. Yeah, it's a purist thing. Like a lot of the hardcore vet people are not going to want to E-Ray. They're not going to want to EV, but they're bringing in a newer demographic with the C8 in general. So I mean, I think it was a good shot on Gino's, but the lack of marketing, in my opinion, just murdered it.
Yeah,
murdered it.
Take those people and put them behind the wheel, and I guarantee their opinions change. Everybody that's driven one loves it. I mean, I don't know anybody who's driven an E-Ray says I hated that car. That car sucks. I've not talked to a single person.
It's the exact opposite. Everybody who's driven
Justin,
is like,
no,
damn.
Dude, within the first 10 minutes of driving the car, I was bored with it and wanted back in my Z06.
No way, really? I didn't know you.
No, that's a stock E-Ray. That's not a modded one. But a stock E-Ray, I was like pumped to drive it because I wanted to do the silent. I want to do all this stuff. The coolest thing.
Forget about the Z06. You've never driven a Z06. You just drive that E-Ray.
Oh yeah.
Or from your Stingray. Then what, your opinion changed?
Oh, 100%. I would love an E-Ray over the Stingray. But as soon I said this before, if you're thinking of an E-Ray, do not drive a Z06. It's that simple. If you want to do an E-Ray, don't drive a Z06.
The experience doesn't even compare. But when you're talking GT and the stoplight to stoplight, it falls off at the top end, but dude, 90% of where you're going to drive this car, it's fun, dude.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to lie, I even like the little boom thing.
Dude, I love it. I was just going to say when I was talking to Brandon, I said one of the freaking coolest things. You can look at my video whenever I was reviewing that car. Yeah. The coolest thing was the sound because it's so like Transformer-esque, and like I'm the age where Transformers was like my childhood. So when I hear that, I'm like, hell yeah. Yeah, the Z06 sounds better. I feel like the Z06. Everybody says it. The Z06 sounds better. In my experience, the Z06 has obviously a more track-tuned suspension and everything. So going around the turns, you feel more at home in the Z06 if you're that kind of driver. I personally have always liked a sports car that rides like a sports car. So when I got in the E-Ray, I immediately noticed it rode way more like a Stingray than a Z06. And it was too soft for me. Even in track mode, which I'll be honest with you, I don't really love track mode in any of the C8s. I feel like it messes, it does weird things with the front end. The back feels fine, but the front gets floaty in track mode. And I know why they did that. They did that to try to prevent oversteer or whatever. But at the end of the day, I didn't like it. And I still don't. So I never drive that car in track mode. Even on the track, I leave it in sport and I turn on performance traction modes, but I don't go to track. I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah. What about ZR1 Zora?
Same thing. If that comes out and it is exactly what we're talking about, it's going to be a ZR1 engine with a Zora or with the E-Ray front motor, I'll pass. I'll get the ZR1. And you'll have the ZR1 Zora doing way better quarter mile times, but it will not be as good on the track. That's just the way it is.
For the weight, there's no way.
The weight,
and based on
power's not a problem.
Based on what I'm hearing too, is that if they do the ZR1 engine in the rear and the E-Ray motor up front, it's possible that E-Ray motor in the front is going to be slightly different, creating more power, but that's going to also take more power. So there's rumors out there right now that the Zora could be potentially 13 to 1400 horsepower over the original thought 1200 or whatever. And if they do that, they have to increase the battery size of it as well, which means more weight. But yeah, you're putting down 1400 horsepower, crazy power, but at the same time, too much weight on the front end of the car.
Are we going to be able to insure that though? 1300
horsepower? Who knows, bro? Like NCM said they were going to insure the ZR1s when I asked them, but they said his words were, "But it's not going to be cheap."
Exactly, and that's the thing. They did.
He's like, "We'll insure it," but
they already talked about the price of this for the ZR1 on the mid-engine Corvette forum, and it wasn't really that bad. I mean, it's not cheap, but it's not horrible. Right. It was like, I think somebody said it was either $300 or $500 higher than their Z06 a year.
Right.
So I mean,
but still, he's like,
well, we need to ask Nate what he pays for insurance. I'm curious what the E-Ray insurance is versus the Z06 insurance. How much more we pay?
I would no. I was going to say I would have to assume the E-Ray's cheaper.
Yeah, because I know when they punch the VIN in, when it comes to there's always a Z06 premium, no matter what generation.
And the ZR1 will be the same thing.
Same thing on the ZR1. Yeah.
Guys, again, we got almost 200 people in here watching. Smash the thumbs up if we can. We're at 123. Let's hit that 200 mark. Thumbs up, guys. Really helps out a lot. Chopper Larry said if it wasn't for the Z06, he would not have purchased a regular C8. So basically saying, he's not interested in the E-Ray. And of course, we're going to have a couple different opinions going on in the chat here. I know C8 Nate and Steven especially, they have E-Rays, so they're going to have their opinions on it, and that's great. Like I always have to. I feel like I always have to preface this stuff with. I think the E-Ray has its place. I really want to make sure that people understand that if you're looking for a track car, the E-Ray is not it. But if you know that going into it, the E-Ray is an amazing car. You can build an E-Ray to be a ridiculously good drag strip car and a great GT car. If I had to choose a fun car to make a road trip in, E-Ray, it would be the E-Ray. That is without a doubt the best road trip car out there. Because you're going to look like a Z06, you're going to have the power, and it's going to be comfortable. A lot of these things, Kerry Glock says, I checked State Farm in Central PA for a ZR1 last week. No figures yet for insurance. The biggest problem with this is going to be that there's not really any VIN numbers out there yet. In my video I did down at the Bash, I found a couple different ZR1s that were captured test fleet vehicles. You could probably use one of those VINs to see how much they charge, but I don't know if those will pull up or not. You might have to wait until one of these cars is actually produced and has an actual.
I think you're going to need an actual VIN to do that.
I think so too.
So.
What's this?
Hey, there's Joe Lamb talking about E-Rays. What's up, my man? Love that.
I think Joe might have a different opinion from you, Justin.
Well, that's the thing.
Well, honestly,
now there's three in here.
If they were dollar for dollar.
If they were dollar for
dollar. I think the dollar for dollar, if you were looking at it, what you would like 90% of the time, what you're going to get, if you had the same car, same price, whatever, that would be a really hard, if you're taking out the overall visceral experience of the motor, the sound, it's tight or whatever. But like you said, it fits in. And I wish they could have done it another $5 to $10 grand cheaper, because that would have been the perfect spot, and they would have sold a buttload of them.
And see, that's my E-Ray review.
Iron brakes, and they're there. All they had to do is put iron brakes on it.
Yep.
Could have got that
And
price
it-
point.
Well, see, even then,
$9.99.
I feel like what you're getting with that car, it should have come standard with carbon ceramics and still been 10 grand cheaper. Because if they had done it that way, this whole conversation is different at that point. Because now you're not lumping the E-Ray in with the Z06 crowd. You're putting it on its own, and by itself at 10 grand to 10 to 15 grand less would put it right where I think the Grand Sport's going to fall now. And if they had done that, that car would be crushing the Z06 and the Stingray. There'd be no competition. That car would be flying off the shelves because, again, it's got the wide body of the Z06. It's got the power.
Yep.
And it's able to be driven comfortably road trip-wise. The price was too high.
That's why everybody's clamoring now for Grand Sport. That's what's always made the Grand Sport such a great car, is that you get the wide body, you get the brakes, you get the performance traction, you get all that stuff at a lower price with a little bit lower performance, but you're getting most of it, and it fits right in the lineup, right where it needs to be.
Yeah. So one of the questions here I did want to talk about tonight is from Steven. It says, how many days or weeks before should we see somebody getting a ZR1 delivered? And Professor Corvette says exactly what I'm thinking is probably going to be June to July. And that will make it so we will see them at Corvettes at Carlisle, like actual customer cars at Corvettes at Carlisle. Now, here's another thing. I get a question at least 3 times a day. Justin, are you waiting now to get a ZR1 until 2026? And I say the same thing. I don't think I'm going to have a choice at this point. And they say, what do you mean? So far, from what I've heard, there's been 150 allocations for the C8 ZR1, and these are for 2025 models. So 150 of these cars, and there has not been another allocation round for the 2025. And at this point, I'm not sure that there's going to be another round of allocations. I think we're done with 2025s. And if that's the case, you're going to have 150 2025 ZR1s that are going to be delivered by around June or July. And then afterwards, the next round is 2026s. And that's when
they'll retool in August and start pumping them out in September. Yep.
Have you heard if the 25s at all are going to get the ZTK package is going to get the upgraded brakes, or is that not going to happen for 25?
I don't think, based on what I've read, it sounds like that is a 2026 upgrade.
Correct.
And so these 25 guys are going to have a rare car.
They're super rare. It's going to be the older interior. It's going to be available in Seawolf and Rapid Blue. It's not going to have the 10-piston calipers in the front, even if you do have ZTK package car, which some will. So yeah, they're going to have a super rare car. So if people are following that rarity thing, those 150 allocations that some of you got, super rare. I would put that car in a garage and never touch it, because that thing is going to go through the freaking roof.
I'd put a Seawolf or a Rapid Blue for sure.
That's 100%. And I told somebody at the bash, I said,
Seawolf.
as soon as they discontinued those colors, I was like, Seawolf might be the color for me on ZR1 now.
Oh, dude, and I'm telling you, like the Seawolf, when I saw it with the Habanero, like that orange with that gray, man, I was like, oh, if you could get a 25, this is what you get, because it'll be a rare car.
I did like that combination too, as weird as that sounds, because I'm not usually.
Because you wouldn't think,
yeah,
you wouldn't think when you say it out loud, but when you walk up to the car and with that stripe, with
the stripe sealed it in, and I'm not an orange color guy at all, but with the Habanero interior, orange calipers, and the stripe was black and then outlined in orange, right?
Yes. Sir.
Yeah, and that just it put it all in. I was like, that does work. It's really weird.
It does. And actually, the Seawolf goes well with all the other colors. The torch red with the Seawolf looks so dang good too, man.
Torch red, yeah,
so good.
Well, the adrenaline red, but Steven says that his will stay in a wrapper if they only build 150, and I would highly recommend you do that, because odds are very 100%. Good. As of now, we're done with 2025s unless GM does something and extends this model year. As of right now, they're done. So, and from what I understand, the assembly line has already been geared up and changed over to the 26s. So if that's the case, they're done with 25s. So
yeah, because when we were up there for the bash, Rod, the delivery manager at the museum, said that they had already told over they were only doing wide bodies for the rest of the production before they switched over to ZR1s, and now they're retooling for 26.
So Professor Corvette says that the Bowling Green guys said that they finished 17 ZR1s the day that he was there picking up, which was, I think, May 7th, I'm pretty sure. So if they did 17, and we are in fact done for 25, you are literally going to have 150 of these cars, and that's it. So 100%, I would be putting that under a cover and leaving it because
Leave the wrapper.
within 5 years, that car will probably double in value at least, if not more.
Well, and also too, to piggyback off of that, I don't think the average person is going to be able to tell the difference in the braking. The only thing is you get more uniform braking force with the 10 piston, but
Right.
to 9 out of 10 guys, I don't think you're ever going to know the difference between the brakes on the
Yeah, I
25
don't-
and 26.
I don't
Unless
think
you're
so
tracking
either.
it.
And
It's not even
and-
9 out of 10 guys. It's you're going from 180 to 40.
Yeah.
Right. Nobody's doing that.
right.
Right. When
Yeah,
you're doing
it's-
normal speeds to like normal speeds, again, that's when you're on a track and you're going 180, 200 miles an hour to 40. That's
It's a
where the
marketing thing, I think. I think it's
Yeah.
more marketing than
Well,
it is an actual performance.
I was just going to say
upgrade.
that, Brandon, because if you look at it as of before this, at least, I don't know if it still is going to maintain this fact, but production cars with the largest carbon ceramic rotor caliper setup, do you know what the largest production car is until the ZR1 at least? Do you know what it was?
Probably Bugatti Veyron or something.
That's not production.
Oh, okay.
Was it
I don't know.
ZR1?
Lamborghini Urus had the largest caliper.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I remember when I
Now-
saw that at Supercar Saturday.
Now I bet you. Yeah, we did point that out, David. I bet you now
Yeah.
the ZR1 takes that, and if that's the case, then it's 100%. It was a marketing thing. Now here's something funny though. NPM Habanero 06 says, first time hearing about the E-Ray, I thought it was 100% EV. For 7K more than a Z06, it was for me over E-Ray. I'm not sure what
Yeah,
that
it's
end
the
means.
marketing.
But he thought it was 100% electric, and that's the problem. The marketing was really bad on the car. Everybody thought it was electric.
And they couldn't do what you did or what they did with the Z06 to let the masses do it because there weren't enough of them put out to get a bunch of people making content. They just did it didn't
Yeah.
work. That did not work for them
Yeah,
at all.
Well, the biggest thing that GM relied on with the C8 Stingray was YouTubers going crazy for it, and we did. We went so crazy for that. Some of my biggest videos to this day were from talking about the C8 Stingray on the track and like under wraps and all this other stuff. The second biggest videos were the C8 Z06. And then after that, it fell off. Nobody cared about the E-Ray. Even with the YouTubers doing what they were doing, no one seemed to care because they did not want a fully electric Corvette. And that's what they thought it was. Now, Professor Corvette says, why buy a 2025 ZR1 with a mere 6 pistons in the front row? I mean, here's the thing. I had one in my hand the other day. The caliper, the 6-piston caliper on the front of that car is freaking massive. Okay? Yeah. At least on the carbon ceramics. I know on the iron rotors it's a little bit smaller, but even still, it is massive. That thing is huge. I can't even imagine jamming 10 freaking pistons in there. I can't imagine. It's going to weigh probably 35, 40 pounds by itself, maybe more. It's going to be
Well,
heavy.
you can't go much bigger because you're into like 21 and 22-inch wheels. So like I feel like they've kind of hit the limits of the room that they have.
Yeah.
On the braking side. So
Well,
maybe they're making 13 smaller pistons, obviously. But
it probably will be smaller pistons, but at the same time, they can curve that rotor or that caliper around the rotor. And that's what they're going to end up doing, where it's taking up like half the rotor, but it's
still
curved
the
around.
long strand too.
I was just gonna say that.
fibers.
I was just gonna say that, Justin. When we looked at the Euros brakes, right when we were there, that caliper almost looks like
Almost
it's
half. Yep.
Yeah, so that's
It's
exactly
just
what they're going
the
to do.
only difference is they curve it around the rotor. That way, it doesn't have to be a
Exactly.
bigger
Exactly.
wheel setup. But at the same time, even if the ones you look at now, the 6-piston calipers we have now, the center one I believe is the biggest, and then the 2 outside ones on each side are a little bit smaller. They typically do offset them in size for multiple reasons, like lighter braking
But
for
a
smaller.
lot of it's for even braking force is really
Yep.
what it is. Yeah. Yep.
All right, so let's see. Yeah, the 10 pistons only come on the new ZTK cars.
Yeah.
Z07 carbon ceramic brakes are a must. I agree. The biggest thing for me on the Z06 was the carbon ceramic rotors, and for me, the difference in braking performance, I don't think there really is any from what I've seen. The carbon ceramic rotors versus the iron rotors on the Z06, they both stop pretty much identically. There really isn't any difference performance-wise. I just didn't want the brake dust.
Yeah, that was the one option I 100% regret. Luckily, I've rectified that. But at the time, if I could go back, There's no way I do
Well,
iron brakes.
and two, like, again, I love the look of them as well, and the weight is huge. But unless you're tracking your car, because that's where the carbon ceramic shines over the iron, is the fade. There's like no
Brake
fade on those
fade,
carbon ceramic brakes. Yeah, none.
100%.
So again, that's where you come into it. Like normal driving, those you're never gonna outbrake those iron rotors.
So
Ever.
River Mutt says, why not go all around the rotor? Just have one giant caliper. So there's a bunch of reasons not to do this, but the biggest one is going to be weight. I mean, these calipers already, like I said, the one that I had in my hand the other day, I'm pretty sure is probably 25 pounds by itself. You go all the way around the rotor, you're probably looking at 100 pounds.
And heat.
Limited return.
You got to get the air to cool everything.
The
You
heat.
can't get
That's
it.
true
It's
too, yeah.
covered.
That's one of the things too. Like that takes you back to the old drum days, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and think about it. Like I will say that though, rear brakes on an F1 car are what? Drums.
Yeah.
They have the fronts that are disc, but drums on the rear. So I mean, you can have a drum setup, but the heat is the problem.
The heat's the
heat is
problem. And not only is the heat the problem, but as the cars have progressed, where now we're getting caliper or disc brakes in the front and the rear, it's now way more expensive to do car here and there with drum brakes. Same thing with like your power windows. Whenever the power windows first started becoming mainstream, they were a big upcharge because the roll down windows were cheaper, but the power windows were more expensive. Now that everything's moved over to that, now it would be way more expensive to do a roll down window than a power window. So,
But does anybody not miss the roll-up window? Because I sure did.
I bought a junker one time to drive around when my kids were like in their early teen years, just like as a garbage car, and they were like, "Oh my God, look!
yeah,
The windows roll down."
It's
Like,
antique.
they were so impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had they'd never seen that.
If they'd have kept that, they'd have changed the gearing pattern where you could do the whole roll up in one roll.
In one road,
All the way down.
Yep.
I put like 410s in it.
All right, so guys, we got 200 people watching, 141 thumbs up, so let's smash the thumbs up. I want to talk really quickly about something that I saw online. I'm not sure if Brandon and David, I'm not sure if you guys have seen this yet, but it was a spy shot of a Roswell green metallic car that was painted already. So already painting some of the 2026 colors on these cars. And under what appears to be overcast lighting, this color doesn't look great to me. Now I saw
I saw that
awful.
picture.
I saw it at the bash, and I thought the color looked great in the sun. But outside of the sun, this is what it looks like. I don't know if you guys haven't seen this yet. If you have, let me know. But I don't know that I love this. This looks it almost looks like the Hulk.
Well, what about, remember the green on the C5? It was a lighter color than that, but it reminds me of that.
It was
a faded version of the C5 green.
I think that was polo green, and I agree. This does kind of look like that. So again,
It's
guys,
like a sun faded version.
yeah, it's almost like it's almost like it's a faded version of what we saw at the bash. Now I'm assuming number one, this picture looks like it was taken with a potato, which is I don't understand nowadays when you have DSLR quality cameras in your freaking pocket, how the heck we're getting a picture that looks like this. I don't know, but
that was an Nokia flip phone that took that.
It has to be
the flip phone.
And who the heck has a flip phone nowadays? Like, I don't know. I don't think I love the way that looks. Hopefully that's just a bad picture taken at a bad time, because I liked the green at the bash. I thought that was a really good step in the right direction. So,
well, that's the thing too. Until we start to see it on cars and in public and rare, because honestly, I would have on the builder and pictures, I would have never given a cacti cart, not even a thought. But when we saw them, when Brandon and I went through the tour at the plant with like the carbon fiber and stuff, it became one of my favorites. Just seeing it. So until we start seeing these cars out, in packages, carbon fiber packages, black wheels, whatever, the jury's going to be out until we start seeing them out.
Well, pay attention to the competition yellow in that photo too. It looks super faded. It almost does not look like competition yellow. I'm assuming it has to be competition yellow.
It's just a shitty picture.
Yeah, you're right. It's not a great picture. I can
really
see the
bad.
yellow. Yeah. See, the yellow looks
faded too.
It does look faded. You're right. So take these pictures for what they're worth. Like I said, they were taken with a 1990s flip phone, apparently. So
Nokia.
Yeah, like literally, it has to be, because I mean, I could take a picture with my phone right now from my window here out into my front yard, and it would look better than this. Like,
are they like 600 yards away trying to zoom in with an iPhone or something? What is going on here?
I'm guessing they were far away. I guess. Either way, I agree. I didn't even think about looking at that other color, Brandon. I think you're dead on with that. So
yeah, and
this is definitely a faded thing. So that gives me hope that this color still is going to look good. So thanks for pointing that out, Brandon.
Yeah, because the one in the sun, when even in the shade, it was like, okay. when it's out in the sun with the metal flake
Yeah.
in it, like it actually,
Because the
it's
metal
gonna
flake
be
in
nice.
it is like a bronze / goldish color, so that car will
Yeah.
look fantastic with bronze wheels.
Yeah, no, it's gonna look, dude. There's gonna be so many cool combinations you can throw on this thing. Oh my god.
Professor Corvette says that photo was taken with a payphone.
Oh my god.
I like it.
You think
All right.
anybody's going to put that color on the ZR1 with the blue wheels? How
Oh
awful is that
God,
gonna
I
look?
hope not. That's awful. That sounds
Someone's
awful.
going to do it.
That sounds
Yeah.
horrible. Someone's going to do it for sure, but no, that's not great. Another thing I want to talk about real quick, guys, is technical service bulletin on an E-Ray. So since we were talking about the E-Ray tonight, which was kind of unscripted, the few E-Rays having reduced Stingray power and no all-wheel drive. Yeah, so this is a problem
That
with
would suck.
exactly a 2024 to 2025 E-Ray could potentially have this problem where it literally prevents the hybrid motor from kicking in, and now all of a sudden you're left with Stingray power with extra weight on this car. I'm sure that probably does not feel great, but there is a service bulletin for it, and apparently it's a pretty easy fix. So yeah, if you guys are having a problem, what apparently the condition is caused by air getting trapped in the hoses around the hybrid electric vehicle battery coolant pump, and this is from a previous repair. So it has to have, very specific situations happening here to make this happen. But if that happened to me, I would be pretty upset. So if you do have something like this happen, that's the service bulletin number and stuff you'll need right there to get that fixed. Definitely. Yeah. It's always weird whenever I see stuff like this, but apparently it's happening.
Now, Justin, did you only post this because you hate E-Rays? Is that why this is service bulletins up there?
It's not true. I'm literally going to talk to Joe after this. I'm going to talk to him about
E-Ray service bulletins.
No. I just go to the C8 mid-engine Corvette forum and I pull up the latest news.
Yeah,
I'm going to make Joe have me a shirt that says "Horsepower Obsessed. I do not hate E-Rays."
Joe,
It's going to be an E-Ray with a circle and a line through it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good one. I like that.
Hey, Justin, Joe Lamb just typed in, "Stop bashing the E-Rays. You're scaring my wife."
You're scaring my wife, nice. Oh God.
Joe, dude, I'm enjoying your content, bro.
I'm not bashing. I'm enlightening.
Joe, challenge Justin to a street race.
Yeah.
Let's stop
We'll
to
set it
60.
We'll set it up.
Okay, I'm going to say it one more time for anybody who didn't hear this. The Z06 is not a drag strip car. All right, so here it is again. Flying Cop Car says, "Justin, are you going to get the new interior for the Z06 if you don't get a ZR1?" I might actually. If I don't get a ZR1, that is something I would consider. I would more likely though get an E-Ray, a 2026 E-Ray with the new interior, and probably keep my Z06. Because one thing me and Brandon and David, we were kind of talking about this, I don't know, a couple days ago, is that new interior is very likely to weigh more than the current interior. So do we necessarily want more weight in the C8 Z06? Not really. So
yeah, you can handle the weight in the ZR1 because of the power, but the Z06 needs to be light, needs to be nimble. You gotta, yeah. But I mean, I thought about it too, man. If I wasn't gonna pick up this new surprise I got coming, I was thinking about, man, I'll pick up a 26 and see what it's all about. I'll get my C-ring and my habanero, but now that I'm on the ZR1 list, I'm just gonna wait that out.
Professor Corvette said, "What?
I'm gonna own an E-Ray at some point. It's I don't know when.
I fully see that, Brandon. 100%.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Professor Corvette says we should erase all those E-Ray comments. Oh man, that's good. C8 Nate remembers things happening very differently than how they actually did. He says Brandon asked earlier, "Does anybody hate E-Rays?" And he said no, but Justin raised his hand, and that's not what happened. They said he asked if anybody test drove one and didn't like it, and I raised my hand. I did not like my time in an E-Ray. I did not like it, but that does not mean I hate it. It means it has its place in the lineup. It just ain't for me. It's that simple.
Yeah, no, and I honestly seeing them that I love the wide body. They look great. Like Joe's was spec'd out perfect. I mean, they're awesome, but. Like you said, it's potato. I would own both if I wasn't waiting on a ZR1. I'm going to put that out there right now.
Yep.
I would own both 100%. So
So one thing I did want to talk about a little bit tonight is the new interior. Obviously, we've already kind of touched on a little bit here. The 2026 interior has been revealed. So if you guys aren't living under a rock, you've already seen this. It looks to me, I'll be honest with you, I like this way better than I thought I was going to. Seeing the bits and pieces that I've seen, I didn't like it. But seeing it now all together, it's not bad. And especially in this kind of form here where you have the black and red interior going on, I think that looks pretty nice. With all this said, there's more to this 2026 update than meets the eye. So that's the second Transformers reference tonight, guys, just so you know. There's more to this interior than meets the eye, or more to this 2026 update than meets the eye, because there's a lot going on outside of just the interior. One of the biggest things that I want you guys to consider, and I don't know this for sure yet, there is no yes or no official, is that there's a good chance this new interior, the screen, which everybody, I love the new screens and everything looks great, but there is a good chance that GM is stripping CarPlay and Android Auto out of this. That by itself.
They're going to keep it.
What's that?
They're keeping it. I just read an article today.
Really?
I don't know how reputable the source is. I thought it was a pretty reputable source. They said they were going to keep the CarPlay in the new interior and Android as well.
That's interesting. So
That is interesting.
I would like to see where you read that, because I have not heard that officially anywhere yet. And if they don't, they're really opening themselves up for some problems. So I hope you're right. I hope they do. But yeah, anyway,
I'll
so
have to find, I don't remember exact source of the phone. I can't get it up here right now, but it was sent to me.
Well,
like
and
a
the
few days
interior,
ago,
like you're saying, Justin, it's like growing on you. I like that view from the driver's side, much more than the passenger side view with that new bar instead of the wall of buttons. Like that view, in my opinion, is much more palatable when you look at it. You're like, oh yeah, that actually works. The other view, I just don't like that. But again, I don't sit over there. I don't care.
Right.
I really don't care what my passenger sees. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, it shouldn't matter at all. Because, I mean, the driving experience is what this car is built for, not the passenger experience.
Right. Exactly.
Now, the view that you're talking about would be like this here. And
right. I don't like that.
I mean, honestly, I don't really see that much of a difference between what we have now and that, other than the fact that the buttons aren't there. Again,
well, the
like
buttons and then that whole,
I talked about this.
Gap in there.
Yeah, I talked about this in the previous videos where I feel like GM missed what people were complaining about. They didn't like the wall of buttons, so GM was like, all right, well, we'll take the buttons away. No, it's the wall of buttons.
Right.
Like, the wall was the issue, but the wall still exists. But now the buttons are gone. So they heard buttons and just ran with it and got rid of the buttons, but they didn't get rid of the wall. I don't really care either way, to be honest with you. I think the wall buttons looks cool. I think this new one looks pretty cool. I don't think I don't think you can go wrong either way if you buy a 25 or a 26. I think you're good either way.
And the higher trim packages, that first one was the base package, definitely. But the higher trim ones definitely,
you need that color on the inside. Like if not any color, at least a color stitching. Like it can't just be black with white stitching. Like that's just not enough. You need more than that. Yep. Now, again, like I said, there's more than meets the eye with the 2026 model updates. Of course, we got the interior, but we also have the new electrochromatic roof. So this was something interesting. I didn't see this coming. I never heard anybody talk about this. This was never leaked or discussed outside of this official release from GM, but this does exist. Now, Brandon, David, and I have talked about this off camera. None of us really seem to enjoy the idea of this for multiple reasons, but the biggest one is that little window that you get, it almost isn't even worth it. Like, yeah, okay, you can change the shade on it and everything, but it's less than half the size that it used to be. So
it looks like half thrown together or like half-assed to me.
To me, it was a change.
It's one of the old guys that live in Arizona or something. I don't know.
This was a change to make a change. That's it. Because this doesn't seem like it resonates with anybody that I've talked to. Nobody that has seen this has been like, oh yeah, I have to have that. Because I've seen, obviously, with my time at Blackout Tinting and everything, I've seen a lot of people come in with the transparent roof and ask to have it tinted. Right. And that, in my opinion, that's the best way to do it. You put a nice high-level tint on there, it's going to block the heat from coming in and give you a nice tint to it. that's the way to do it.
I agree with you.
I don't think there's ever a time when I was in a car with a transparent roof where I was like, man, I wish that was a little bit clearer, or man, I wish that was a little bit more tinted, without just going to blackout tinting and getting some tint on it. Like, I feel like, again, this was a change to make a change.
Yeah, and after seeing Brandon's top with the exposed carbon fiber in person, like in the inside. Like I like that. That looks cool. Like I really actually that brings it up to like more like race car status. Like I
There's
like
one negative though, David. It's sound because there's nothing to kind of insulate.
right.
I hear more road noise.
Yeah.
So I will preface that.
With
You
with
will
your
get more of
100
a road sound.
with your 130 dB exhaust, and you're worried about some road noise. From
Yeah.
the top.
Well, road noise
I'm
is
just
the
saying.
worst. Yeah.
For those thinking about doing it, just beware. There will be more sound.
But I do like it actually. At first I was like, but after seeing it on your car, I was like, yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, it looks good from the inside. I like the looks of it.
Yeah.
So
it does look good.
So we got the roof, which didn't really make a whole lot of sense. But then scrolling down a little bit more, we also get these cup holders. They're interesting. They're not covered, but there's a reason they're not covered. And the biggest reason is that there's ambient lighting in them now. So you can, number one, they're going to be the color of your interior. So if you have an adrenaline red interior, the cup holder on the inside will be mostly adrenaline red, or in this case, sky cool gray. You have the Corvette flag at the bottom, which is kind of cool looking. And there's going to be ambient lighting in there. Now, I've gotten a bunch of questions about where else the ambient lighting might be other than the cup holders. I don't know. I haven't seen anything saying we're going to have ambient lighting anywhere else, so we might not. But with this, you're going to get it at least in the cup holders.
You notice that on the actual dimensions of that, it's a little wider. It looks like the wall to button area in order to make the charging pad. It doesn't look like it's the same size, like it protrudes more of the passenger.
It does
space.
look like it's wider,
Right?
yeah. I agree.
Yeah, you're right. It does. It does.
Yep. Well,
Well,
there's a curvature to that wall of buttons that when it came down, it kind of curved in. I think now it just comes straight down. So it's probably the same size. It's just there's no curvature to it anymore.
Well, Justin, you brought up the ambient lighting. Like you guys have a Lyric, right? GM product. I had a rental this week for work that was like some kind of Buick SUV, whatever, and it had some really cool ambient lighting around the doors. So, like, I mean, for what we're paying for these Corvettes,
I've been saying that forever
because let's do this Buick stuff. Let's do this Lyric stuff. Let's do this. Like
Amber's car has ambient lighting all over, and you can change the colors of it, and it's really cool.
Exactly.
The freaking 2018 ZL1 Camaro has ambient lighting. Like,
exactly.
what are we doing here?
I was driving a Buick that had it. Like, come on, like.
So of course we got that, and then outside of the regular interior changes, I've actually been confirmed. I confirmed it today that we're going to have obviously the cell phone charger right here on the center, and the cell phone charger in the rear waterfall will still be there and will still work. So we're going to have 2 wireless chargers working on the interior of this car. So that's good if you have a passenger. You can have the passenger use the back one maybe because it's easier for them to reach back there versus you doing it while you're driving. So 2 wireless chargers will in fact be available on the interior of the car. Outside of that,
definitely a step up.
Yeah, it's interesting. I would have guessed that they would have not have included that rear charger anymore, but apparently they do. So outside of that, of course, we've already talked a little bit about the 10-piston caliper for the ZR1, but those are changes coming for the 2026 outside of just the interior. So again, a little bit more than meets the eye with this stuff.
And it does look like they're trying to up the trim a little bit, up the interior quality a little bit. It does look like that.
It does.
I mean, I'll give them credit for that. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think as long as they don't kill CarPlay, I think all of this is I think this is all a move in the right direction.
Yeah, it's all a win. You're right.
Yeah. All right. So real quick, what I want to do, I want to bring on Joe again from, you guys know Joe. He's been working with me with the Vet Exchange stuff. We are still working on selling that C5 twin turbo car. But I want to bring him on and have him discuss a couple different things with you guys. If you haven't heard of this yet, this is going to be a perfect time for you to learn a little bit about a new adventure that myself and Joe are getting into. So let me get him on here. Maybe. Not that guy. We need this guy. There he is. Hi, Joe. How you doing?
Good. Can you hear me this week?
We can.
Oh, perfect. Hey, Brandon. Hey, David. Hey, all. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Joe?
How's it going?
Going well, thanks.
So, Joe, tell us a little bit about what we're doing with the C5, and I think you said you had a couple other things kind of going on.
Yeah, so real quick, I think most of us are surprised based on the specs of that car and what it can do that it still hasn't sold yet. But I can't get more compliments of people who have seen the video or seen the pictures of it. But I guess a C5 with over 700 horsepower needs a certain type of buyer in a manual. So, the seller said he would come down a little bit. So if you remember, we had the car priced at 42. So if you are interested, make us a good offer and we'll see if we can't connect buyer and seller, which is the whole premise of what Justin and I are doing with HPO Vet Exchange. And that is to provide another alternative for all of you, friends, relatives, anybody in the Corvette community that does not want to necessarily sell their car on their own or, deal with a trade-in price that oftentimes is, let's just say, not fair and balanced. And so, by connecting through this forum, buyers and sellers, sellers can get a bit more than they certainly would get in most cases from a trade-in. And then retail buyers, rather than dealing with a dealer that is going to mark up that car they've taken in, you'll be paying less. And so it's sort of a win-win-win for everybody. And I also just want to mention that, the email, HPOVETTE, the letter X, and then CHANGE @gmail.com is where you can reach out. I respond promptly. And remember, it's not just if you're interested in selling a car. This is a two-way street. So if you're a buyer and you're interested in a particular vehicle, let us know. And I'm going to share two with you real quick now. We have a buyer highly interested, for anybody out there or knows anybody, for a 2017 or 18. Black Rose is the color of demand that this gentleman is interested in. That's a C7 Grand Sport in this case. Manual. Chrome wheels were an option back then. And obviously he's looking, like most of us, for something with lower miles that's been really, really taken care of. So if you know anybody, we have a buyer potentially interested in your Black Rose 2017 or 18 C7 Grand Sport. And then Joe, who C5 we were just mentioning, he has shared an interest in an automatic C7. I think he probably wants to get garage space for the C5 first. But if you've got a C7 automatic that you're thinking about potentially wanting to sell, email us. And, again, maybe we can connect buyers and sellers. So that's really it. All the details are on the website. Justin's website, in the drop down, you'll just go to HPO Vet Exchange and you'll see the process. There's a good Q&A up there now. And we've gotten very positive feedback from the two first buyers and sellers that have experienced literally within a week of each other. And that's really it for now. So thanks for your attention. And as always, a great community.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah. Hey, quick question though, Justin, for Joe. Was that a Dominique Wilkins jersey on the wall?
Yeah, I've got a
The
an
human
Irvin
highlight
Patrick
reel,
Irvin?
brother.
over
The
that
human
shoulder.
highlight reel.
I've got a Wilkins over that shoulder.
I
I've got
saw
a Magic.
that.
I've got
I
a
saw that.
Magic Johnson here, a Larry Bird, and a Walt Frazier. So you can
Wow.
tell what era
Are they
I
signed?
grew up in.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. That's awesome,
Are they-
man.
Are they autographed?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Oh my God, Larry Bird, awesome.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah. And then
amazing.
I've got my official, Grand Sport Corvette shirt on. That's not autographed.
Yes, he does.
All right, Joe, thanks for coming on. I'm going to play a video for the C5 right now. If you guys haven't seen it yet, it's on my Instagram and even on the YouTube shorts here, but I'm going to play it for you real quickly because this is a startup and kind of a walk around.
This car's ridiculous, dude.
So obviously a super clean car. Joe was just telling us that the seller's motivated, so he's willing to negotiate some pricing here. You guys really should check it out if you're interested in a C5. That I can't find a cleaner car than that with 700 horsepower. The turbos are actually mounted right underneath the cabin of the car, and you heard the startup there. Like, this thing can be docile if you want it to be. So the startup's not like heavy chopping with unbelievably loud exhaust unless you want it to be. So very, very nice looking car. Again, if you guys are interested, the horsepower vet exchange, you can actually go right on the horsepowerobsessed.com website and get to it. The email address, everything is right there. Joe and I are working on selling these cars together. So if you need to sell one or if you need to buy one, feel free to reach out to us. Real quick though, guys, I do want to talk about, we didn't get to talk a lot about the giveaway tonight. Again, it is the carbon fiber strut tower covers. I'm going to run these for another 3 minutes. If you guys are interested, every $10 is a donation. It is real carbon fiber that will cover up the strut towers in the rear. They are, you can see right there on the website, they're worth $315 plus shipping. You can win them tonight for a donation of $10. So if you guys are interested, Venmo is Horsepower Obsessed, or right here on the super chat, to every $10 is a donation or an entry. Every $50 or more is double entries. C8 Rally Driver makes some really high quality products. This is no exception. It's going to cover up those strut towers and make your engine bay look a lot cleaner. So I'm going to give you guys another couple minutes to get those entered in, and then we're going to spin that wheel tonight. So, yeah, it looks like we got 4 entries for tonight. So only 4 people have entered, guys. You have a really good chance of winning this stuff. Jay Brazelton and Steve Robertson are still entered into this from last week. These are, again, not really 4 convertible cars, but at this point, I guess it kind of is what it is. So 4 people entered. I don't think we got any other entries. No. So
hey, Gordon.
If you guys are interested, there's only 4 people entered in this, so make sure you get entered in. We're going to give you another 2 minutes on it. That is great, Steve Robertson. Thank you for bringing that up. I forgot to talk about that. If you guys haven't seen this yet, the official EPA fuel economy for the 1,064 horsepower Corvette ZR1. I know a lot of you would have thought that it's going to be pretty bad, but in fact, it is only a little bit worse than the C8 Z06. So here's the ZR1's 14 combined, 12 city, 18 highway, and the Z06 with the carbon arrow is 14 combined, 12 city, 19 highway. It literally is 1 mile per gallon difference in the city.
Crazy.
That is insane.
Is crazy.
It's 400 more horsepower.
You could really though skew that because all you have to do is roll just a touch, and all of a sudden you go from sipping gas to like your tank goes.
Yep.
But it is still amazing, and the fact that they're doing all of this on pump gas, that has to be California pump gas.
Yep.
91 basically. It's insane.
Yeah, Jeeper says my daughter walked in and said we're Corvette nerds. That I do take that as a compliment as well, Brandon.
That is a compliment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Kevin Reynolds says, Justin, what is your profession outside of HPO? HPO is pretty much my profession. I do co-own a detail shop as well. That's pretty much it. So between Horsepower Obsessed YouTube channel, my website for selling Corvette parts and merchandise, and Blackout Tinting, that's all I do.
Yep.
Riptide Rick is in for 2 entries. Thank you.
There you go. Yeah, we're nerds, but it's such a great community. Let me take like just quick 30 seconds to tell you guys something. I'm not going to know how the details, but Gordon's one of the subscribers here. He subscribes to all of our channels, but Gordon's an attorney in San Diego. But I had a friend who was going through an issue and, just didn't know what to do, needed some legal advice, had zero idea where to go. I literally was text Gordon, was like, hey man, I think you said you were this. Is that true? Whatever. Can we, dude, he's like, yeah, sure. Call me. I'll put him in touch with my whatever else. Like, just goes out of his way to be like, hey, this is what, you talk to these people. I know these people. They're good people. I mean, that's the community we're building here, guys. I just want to thank Gordon for that, first off, but just show you guys, yeah, we're nerds, but like, we're all nerds together. Like, this is what we do. This is what we love. So, but thank you, Gordon. I can't appreciate you. Dude, you're amazing. You're absolutely amazing.
Yep.
Next week, we're bringing our glasses. We're going to all have like just no lens.
tape in the middle.
Glasses.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, I
If-
wear
I'll
readers
be
at
honest
work,
with
so I'll
you.
just bring my readers.
If this is
Mine
what
are the
a,
rapid blue glasses.
if this is what a
But-
nerd is, I'm totally okay with being a nerd.
I'm a nerd.
Oh, yeah,
go
That's
nerds.
right. That's right. Go nerds.
It could be worse, I'll tell you that much. But basically, what David was saying, I have seen that kind of thing 100 times.
Isn't it amazing, dude?
I get phone
amazing.
calls on a daily basis that come in from my website that have nothing to do with question about anything on my website. They just want to talk to me about something about a Corvette that they're ordering or this, that, or the other. And I answer those calls every day, all day, every day, because that's what I want to do. That's what I like to do. And it's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you guys into the right position.
And this, what's happening right now, is living proof of that,
Yeah.
because that's how this all started. I emailed you, was like, hey, I want to do XYZ. Can I pick your brain?
Yep.
Can I take you to lunch and pick your brain? I'll come see you in Florida. And that's how this all started, was
Yep.
just give him a complete stranger advice. And hey, this is what I do. This is what I would, but you know, keep doing. And that's how all this started.
And the thing is you weren't the first one that has reached out about with questions like that. And I will help you guys all day, every day with that.
Absolutely.
If you're just starting a YouTube channel, I'll give you all the best tips that I can possibly give you on how to make it a success. If you want to buy a car and you have some questions about some of the different options and stuff, I'll help you out with all. I mean, whatever it is. Email me, message it here on the live videos, whatever it is, we are here to do that. So absolutely.
Yeah. And Joe's like putting content now for Super 8. Like I told him, whatever you need, Joe, let me know. We'll help you out.
And it continues. I helped you. You're gonna help Joe. Joe will help the next guy, and it's unreal. Yeah. But Seawolf Z06 says impressive miles per gallon numbers, but does anyone buying a ZR1 really care about fuel economy? No, they don't.
Not me.
And that's the thing. It's like one of the things I had to address in my Ram TRX review was the miles per gallon. You have to talk about it at least for a hot second, because it's pretty bad in that truck. It's like you're going to get between 9 and 10 at best if you drive it like I do. And
but at that point, it's miles per gallon.
And I was going to say, I mention it quickly because I'm the guy who doesn't care about these numbers, and most of you don't either. But there's that one guy who will say, "Hey, why didn't you include this?" So I threw it in there. And I got a bunch of comments saying, nobody buys this truck for the miles per gallon. Nobody, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I know. But I had to put it in there because it is kind of a thing.
Yep.
And honestly, I included the ZR1 miles per gallon tonight, not because they were bad, but because they're almost exactly as good as the Z06 with an additional 400 horsepower. So really, it's a win. I don't care if the numbers aren't as high as you would think that they could have been. I think the fact they met with the Z06 is a win. John Perkins says it was quick jacks for me. Thanks for that, Justin. Thank you, John. I always enjoy talking to you anyway. So it's
yeah. Thanks, John. But yeah, any you guys have, I get emails. Hey, I installed this. This is going on. Do you know what might happen? Like, I'm sure Brandon gets it too. Like, anything you guys need, just let us know, man. We'll help you any way we can.
Yep. Bill Miller says, "Hey, can you help me get 0% financing?" Yeah, on I can actually help you with that if you want, like a can of Mountain Dew. 0%, man. Didn't say what you wanted. I'll help you out as best as I can. Yeah.
Is Bill going to buy a Tesla? Because I'm pretty sure that's the only place you can get 0% right now.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that Tesla's doing that though. Like more places need to do that. Super 8 Creation says, Justin helped me with advice on my first Stingray when the dealer tried to rip me off. Yeah, I did. I tried to help as best I could with that. That was a really messed up situation though, Joe. Unfortunately, that's the way greedy dealerships are. But Jay Brazelton says John Perkins and I got the quick jacks. Nice. Larry Lewis says he'll be in touch with you about the painted intake soon. David, there you go.
Oh yeah, no, it's waiting on you, Lewis. I got you, brother. You just let me know, man.
Hey, Justin, do you know the answer to that? The 392 Jeeper asked.
I was just going to ask that.
Headroom.
Anyone know if you gain headroom with the comp seats versus the GT seat? I would say.
I read that somewhere. Is that wrong?
I don't know from that.
Yeah,
because it wouldn't be that. It would be the seat height. So I don't know. That's a good question. Now I've got some homework to do. I appreciate that.
Well, the big thing that's going to matter here, 392 Jeeper, is if you're 6'5", but how much do you weigh? Like, are you a bigger guy? Because if you're bigger, you're going to kind of sit on top of those bolsters. Whereas if you're skinnier, you'll sit down in between them. And that
the height. I can tell you now, though. Jeeper, The height, do not worry about it. The guy that owns Injected Engineering, where we do all our dyno, he's at least 6'4", 6'5", right, Brandon?
He's
Eric?
probably, I don't know if he's that tall. He's at least 6'3", I'd say.
Yeah, okay, so he's
tall.
close, but he gets in and sits in our C8 Z06s, and we have the 1LZ, like, no, and he has no issues in there. He's like, because somebody even asked him the other day, was like, how do you even fit in that car? He's like, actually, I fit really well.
Yeah.
So just,
But he didn't have a helmet on, though. That's the only thing. I don't know
Yeah.
if he's wanting to track it. That
that's
would
true.
be
That's true. Even with the helmet, it's going to be tight for anybody, really. So
That's true. All right, so if you're thinner, I think the comp seats probably would be a hair lower because they have a little bit less foam in the bottom of the seat. So, I mean, you're not talking much though, maybe half an inch at best.
Yep.
And don't the Verts have more headroom? That's the thing too, right? Like they have a little bit more headroom.
No, see, my experience is the opposite.
Really?
That the convertible has less headroom.
Oh.
I
we-
thought
we-
I read that. I don't know that.
We
to
had
be
this
factor or not,
conversation
but-
before, Brandon, and you might be right, but in my experience, I've noticed the opposite.
Well, Joe has comp seats and he's 6'4". Joe, type in the chat. Did you have comp seats in your Stingray? That's a good question because he would know both. He would have comp seats and the comparison on the Stingray, and he's 6'4".
There you go. See, this is why the community is awesome. Everybody, we have someone
Right,
who's
we just
experienced
help each other.
everything here. All right, so I'm going to start putting together the wheel of winners here. So, because it doesn't look like anybody else has entered just yet. So we'll do advance.
Somebody asked, but I'm curious myself, Brandon. How's the new puppy doing, brother?
Yeah, I heard him yelling at
Oh,
him
good.
earlier.
He just vomited in my car twice today.
Hey, at
And
least
he's
it's
so
your
big.
puppy.
It was big vomit. It was like human-sized vomit, and
Oh,
my
my
white
God.
seats.
Oh,
It
at
was
least
awful.
That's
at least
awful.
it's a puppy though, and you can just be like, it was the dog. Like one time when my daughter was little, I was taking her to gymnastics, and I was like, oh, it's a nice day. I'll take my Shelby. So I had my GT 500, and she had just had like the strawberry quick or whatever, and she threw
Oh,
it up
God.
all in my Shelby. I
Nice.
was like, oh,
Sold the next day.
no. Not milk. Like
Yeah.
no.
Oh, no. That's like
Uh,
when Justin did that video on the milk thing in his
Yeah.
TRX.
Dude, I had
could
to
smell that. Just
I had
thinking
to
about it.
replace the
Smell that.
entire rear carpet. That was the only option I had because anything else, it would have just smelled like milk forever.
It's still okay with the ozone
Yeah.
thing and everything else.
Yeah, you can't tell anything ever happened. But I had to
Yeah,
replace
'cause I
that
was
rear
in it.
carpet.
Yeah, because I was in it after that, and if I didn't see your video, I would have never known that was
Yeah.
a thing. So
Seawolf06 says that he regrets not getting the comp seats. And honestly, my 2020 Stingray,
too.
I had the comp seats. And the Z06, I have the comp seats. If I get a ZR1, comp seats. If I get an E-Ray, comp seats. I will not get a car without comp seats.
yeah,
He said that this is the first time with comp seats for him.
nice.
And it's a no-brainer on the 1LZ too because the comp seats had the cloth and they're only like $1,000 or something for
Right.
the option.
Yeah.
Like it's like a no-brainer in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
All right, so we got the wheel. It looks kind of antiseptic today. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people on it. But anybody want last minute entries? Anybody?
I'm good.
Okay, we're gonna spin this thing. Here we go.
Big bucks, no whammies. Who is it tonight? Oh, it's gonna be the small one. There it goes. It's gonna be the small one.
Oh man. Oh, it did switch over. Oh my god, that's rough. Riptide Rick.
I told you it was gonna be the small one.
It was, yeah.
Is that the $10 one? Is Riptide Rate $10 one?
No, he put in 20.
20.
All right, so
Congratulations, Rick.
I think that's the
Congratulations,
second
Rick.
thing he's won recently. Riptide Rick, you won the. Did he win? No, it wasn't him that won the race hatch supports.
That's awesome, man.
All right, Riptide, email me your contact information so I can get those over to you. But it looks like you are. Is it 2 weeks in a row? Did you win the hatch supports too? I gotta look now. I thought it wasn't you.
He just typed it in. He said 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I know.
Ah, look at that.
I gotta check it now because if
Dude,
that's the
he's
case,
about
that's
lottery
crazy.
ticket.
The fix is in, guys.
Yeah. God, don't spread that. People already want to think that anyway.
That's awesome.
Well, we know there's no fixes. I've never won.
That's true.
That's true.
I
Although
even got close
Well,
to
you
winning.
know
I don't
there's
think
no
my name's
fix-
been on the wheel.
Nate
you know
won.
there's no fix because Nate won like with like one entry.
Yeah, he had one entry, and there was other people that had like 400, and he wins with one.
Yeah, with his free entry.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it was a free entry.
Yeah,
God, I can't find. For some reason, I can't find if he was the winner from last week or not.
Somebody else said he was too. Oh yeah, it's all on the up and up. I can assure you.
Oh yeah, Riptide's like, yeah, it's on the up and up. I won 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, he wouldn't say anything. God, why can't I find this? Is he saying it? Riptide, did you win last week too?
He said no. He said he did. Yeah, he said Riptide said 2 weeks in a row. Yeah, so he actually said it.
All right, well, if that's the case, then you have officially won 2 items from C8 Rally Driver too. That's pretty crazy.
He's cleaning up.
Cleaning it up. Yeah, it's cleaning the house here. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that's that. Riptide, just shoot me an email. Let me know your contact information again, even if you already did send it to me. I can't find it. So send me another email, and I will get that information over to C8 Rally Driver. Again, guys, the sponsor of this month's live videos, makes all kinds of products for the C8 Stingray, C06, E-Ray, doesn't matter. We're going to have a giveaway every week from him. So next week will be something even cooler. And then the last week of the month will be the coolest possible one. And yeah, that one, the last week of the month will also be something that the convertible guys can enjoy. So
Will we be? Hey, next time we're on, it'll be Memorial Day, right?
yeah, it'll be the end of the month. I think that is Memorial Day.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, being a vet, that's awesome. And like Clay's son just graduated Ranger School and E3B. Like, man, that's awesome. I can't wait.
Riptide Rick says that he loves it. He saved $1,200 already from watching this channel. There it is. So between
there you go.
between building a community, hanging out with Corvette guys, and literally saving money, we're doing it all here, guys. So
there you go.
392 Jeeper. That's a good question. I did want to answer this before we go. He said, Justin, did you ever race your modded Z06 versus a stock Z06? No, we were supposed to do that at the bash, and something happened that just never happened.
No,
but
they rained out the bow tie thing on Thursday, and they had to push all the finals into Sunday, so they didn't have any time to get us in. That was the weather got us.
okay, so
Brandon did it
do
though.
it, though.
Brandon just put a video out. He raced a stock one in his car. Yeah, Brandon just.
Yeah.
That's a good video too.
yeah,
That was
and the
good.
difference between Brandon's and a stock one is pretty significant. It would be about as significant with me, maybe slightly less because I didn't do the weight, quite as much weight savings, but I still have a good bit of weight savings on mine as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to end it with that. And Professor Corvette says it the best. He says to-do list. Number 1, stay obsessed. Number 2, repeat.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you guys.